Hello everyone, my name is Prasad Atle and I would like to welcome you to this session on integration to Oracle on-premise using Microsoft Flow. We'll be taking a real-world business case and design and develop a solution that leverages Microsoft Flow. Before proceeding further, a little bit about myself. I'm a SharePoint developer and I got introduced to SharePoint in the year 2007 for the first time. Since then, I've been doing SharePoint development with various versions like 2007 to 2010 and a little bit of 2013. Since last few years, I've been working on Office 365. I'm a Microsoft certified professional in .NET and SharePoint and also a PMP and Scrum Master. You can reach me at my Twitter handle in case you have any questions. So let's quickly run through today's agenda. As I mentioned before, we'll be taking a real-world business case of supplier registration. We'll go through requirements given to us and design a solution that leverages Microsoft Flow. Then we will jump into a live demo to see Flow in action. So we have a company called Contoso Limited which uses Oracle EBS for their accounting and financial requirements. EBS instance is deployed on-premise servers and maintains details about all the registered suppliers. Whenever new supplier registration is needed, company follows a manual process, gathers manual approvals using emails, and then someone enters the data into supplier table in Oracle. A new project has been initiated by Contoso Limited to automate this process, and SharePoint Online platform has been chosen to develop the solution. So how do we design this solution using SharePoint Online then? We will definitely need a SharePoint Online site. It can be a team site with classic experience or maybe a new modern experience. The site will be used as a supplier facing site and all supplier related solutions will be deployed to this site. To meet the given requirement, we will have to create a new SharePoint list using custom list template to capture required data from supplier. Once the data is captured, we will then have to write Microsoft Flow that would gather approvals from approving authorities, and once that request is approved, we will have to create a new entry in supplier Oracle database. Okay, so in this solution, what are different design components that we are going to need? We will need an on-premise gateway so that our flow hosted on Office 365 tenant can get connectivity to our on-premise environment to connect to Oracle database. So this gateway comes in two formats. It's a personal gateway or enterprise gateway. Depending upon your requirement, you can choose which one to download. I have installed personal gateway on my computer, and that's what I'm going to use for this purpose. Next, we will have to have Oracle drivers that actually would establish Oracle connections. Consider this as if you are writing a .NET application that connects to Oracle database, and in order to do that, we install ODAX 64 drivers that we download from Oracle site. We will then need a SharePoint list. We'll already have an Oracle table, and then we'll be creating a new Microsoft Flow. Okay, so those are the components that we need to put together this particular solution to meet our requirements. And let us see now how we can do this in this live demo. So first, let us look at our Oracle table that we have in our EBS Oracle database. For the purpose of this demo, I have created a supplier data table, and let us look at the columns. As we can see that we have columns like supplier names, address, and other basic contact details. We already have one supplier which was registered by manual process here. As we can see, it's full limited. Our various columns are like date of establishment, address, country, phone, etc., where supplier name is the primary column to identify which supplier it is. So now let us look at a SharePoint site that we have created for this purpose. We are using a modern experience SharePoint site for the purpose of this demo. Modern experience follow responsive design, which makes it easy for supplier to register from any device. So in this case, we are going to define a new supplier data list and we'll match the structure to Oracle table. So I'm going to create a new SharePoint list and call it employee data. And then I'm going to create all required columns in this list. So to begin with, I would like to rename title column to something meaningful, and in this case, it's going to be supplier name. And then I'm going to create all other columns like date of establishments, address, country, etc. Uh, s- okay, so I have already created a date of establishment column now. So let's create other columns like address. Address will be a multi-line text column here. I wanted suppliers to enter detail address that they have. Next, I will be creating a country column, and it will be a single line of text column. And finally, phone number to capture the phone number from supplier so that Contoso Limited employees can contact the suppliers back if required. Okay, so I have supplier data list created now that meets my Oracle structure. Cool. So suppliers can use this list now for their registration process. So before proceeding with flow, I would like to confirm one more thing. I want to ensure that my personal on-premise gateway is all set and it's currently online. Once you install this gateway component, all you need to do is to log in using your user and that's it. Gateway should be all set. As you can see, my gateway shows that it's ready here and it is all set up. Okay, I think we are now all set with dependent components at this time, and it's time to start writing our flow. So I'm going to log in to my flow app and going to create a new flow by using a blank flow template. So I'm just gonna click new and I'm gonna select create from blank. Microsoft Flow provides various ready templates to choose from in case our requirement almost matches with these templates. We can quickly choose one of the template from here and speed up our development. I always prefer to start as a blank template instead of working with existing templates. So I'm going to proceed with blank here. Okay, since this flow will be running as soon as a new supplier registers in our list, we are going to select a trigger when an item is created that is under SharePoint. I'm going to provide our site URL and I'm going to quickly grab it from my site and then select our employee data list and complete the configuration. Okay, so next we will have to start an approval process and send a task card to approving authority. So I'm going to pick up a start an approval action here. We can configure this action to execute in couple of ways. Either all parties required to approve or any of them depending upon our need. There are two options to choose from. For the purpose of this demo, I'm going to select any of them can approve this task card. We can set assign to fields and configure approving authorities. For now, I'm going to select my own user account here, and same goes with requester as well. Okay, so for the item link that I would have to select, I'm going to pick an item link shortcut from employee data list so that approvers can click on this link to review supplier request. Cool. Okay, now we will have to capture approval action result and do something. So if approver approves supplier request, we are going to create an entry in Oracle database. And if they reject that request, then we will be sending rejection email back to supplier. However, for the purpose of this demo, I'm just going to work on a positive test case and configure approve action. So I'm going to add a condition block here, and I'm going to define condition for this condition block. And my condition will be response is equal to approve. As we can see that flow presents us all possible properties that we can select from earlier actions. We can choose any property from all the actions that we have configured. So I'm going to select response is equal to, and I'm going to say approve. Okay, so now we have this condition configured. Let us add Oracle action here in the yes block because we would like to insert a data in our Oracle database. So in this case, we have to pick an action called insert row, and that is a action for Oracle database. This connector is actually a premium connector, and you would have to pay some additional charges to get it. Once we add the connector, we see a table name selection block box here. Before clicking the drop down, we'll have to add a new connection to it. So we can use add new connection wizard here and populate all required connection properties. So as we can see, we can provide a connection name here, and for the server property, we have to provide host name of Oracle host, port, and actual schema. The format in this case is host name, colon, port, and then forward slash schema name. Then we can enter username and password properties and finally select our gateway. I'm going to pick up my on-premise gateway and going to complete my action configuration. Now, once the action is fully configured, we can open table name dropdown and then I can select my table. So if our on-premise gateway and ODAC drivers both installed correctly, I should be able to browse all objects within my schema. So as you can see, I'm able to browse all my objects from our Oracle schema, and I'm going to select supplier data and start mapping table properties to SharePoint list columns one by one. So as soon as I select my table name supplier data, Flow presents me the table structure and provides me mapping capability here. So I'm gonna start mapping. For supplier name, I'm going to pick title column from our list. And similarly, I'm going to configure other properties like date of establishment, address, country, and phone. Okay, so we have our Oracle connector almost ready now, and I'm just completing the configuration here. And with that, our flow is also ready. Okay, I just figured out that I have to provide title property for this start and approval action that I missed earlier. So I'm just going to provide a quick title so that approving authority can see this particular title and take the required action. So I'm going to save flow, and as you can see, my flow is saved. I would quickly like to run my flow checker as well to ensure that there are no errors in this flow. And as we can see that there aren't any, so I'm good to go. So we're all set. Okay, so let us begin our testing here now. So I'm going to mimic a supplier user, and I will log into supplier registration site given to me by Contoso Limited. I'm going to create a new item in this list and fill up the registration form as an supplier user. So I'm going to click new, and I'm going to start providing all my contact details here so that if required, someone from Contoso Limited can contact me back in case they have any questions. And then once I'm done with filling all these properties, I'm gonna click my register. I'm gonna click save and complete my registration process. So let's fill up these properties. I'm gonna provide address here, and since I am in Boston, MA, I would like to provide my Boston, MA address. And I'm gonna pick up some random name here, something like Conservation Drive, Boston, Massachusetts. I'm gonna provide country as USA and enter some random phone number here and finally click save. Okay, so uh, supplier registration process is complete at this point. Really great. So now let us go and see what happened actually in the background. What's gonna happen with our flow? Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my flows section, and I'm gonna pick up my flow, and as we can see that flow instance started, and that means it must have assigned an approval card to me. So let us go to approval section and see if I have one. And I can see that I have one approval pending here at this point. It shows me that new supplier registered on our site, and it does also shows me the title that we just filled in. Okay, so I can review this card and take an action. So I'm going to approve this card at this point and enter some comments and finally click confirm. So I'm going to say here that I reviewed this request and I'm going to approve it. It looks okay to me. As you can see that we also have an item link here that we created which we can use to review actual request. Okay, so our approving authority completed their approval at this point. So let us go back to flow once again and see what is the status now. And I can see that flow instance now shows succeeded. We can open our flow graph and ensure that all our actions shows completed. And yes, they did. So that means we should have entry in our Oracle database at this point. So let us go back to our SQL developer and run select star from employee data one more time and see if something changed here. Okay, and good news. I think we have one more item here now and we can see that a new supplier has registered on our site, and we were able to sync new supplier registration data to Oracle using Microsoft Flow. Pretty cool, huh? So with this, we have come to end of today's session. So in this session, we have seen how we can leverage Microsoft Flow to integrate SharePoint Online data to on-premise Oracle database. Thanks a lot for watching this session. You can reach me at any time at my Twitter handle, or